Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another Around the Town of Branford with Henry and Frank. We are here on the town green adjacent to the Branford Town Hall to bring you news changes to your trash collection system and process. And I'm here with Tyler Bound, who's the Town of Branford Manager of Sustainability and Compliance, along with Paul Munez, who is the chairman of the Branford Solid Waste Commission. So I'm going to start with Tyler. Tyler, can you tell us about the big changes coming up to our trash collection?
Sure. So we are changing the process for curbside collection for specifically recycling will be a new no sort collection, which would mean that all of the recyclable material that we are currently recycling and somewhat separating will now go in the same recycling cart. So that is for recycling. For trash and recycling, every eligible residence in the town will get a new cart. One is for trash, one is for recycling. They will be 95 gallons. You can actually opt in for a smaller one, which we will talk about, but the normal size will be 95 gallons for both.
Okay. Now, this is what they call single stream, right? Single stream recycling. In the old days, right, they wanted all the newspapers put in a brown paper bag. They wanted your cans to be put in another container, right? And they were all put in the blue recycling box. That stops now. It's single stream. The town of Branford is going single stream. You put all your recyclables together, right, in one of these boxes.
Right, that's correct. And that would be happening July 1st. That is actually a Saturday, so it will start on July 3rd. And you will now be utilizing a single stream, which we are referring to as no sort processing for recycling.
So it's easier.
Right, it's going to be easier to recycle for all residences, and it actually will allow the process itself for the haulers to be a little more simplified because they will be doing what's called automated collection.
Okay, so that means, right, there's some kind of there's a device on the truck that picks up the
Right.
the blue receptacle and it empties it automatically into the truck, right?
Right. And I'll have Paul
Yeah.
speak a little more of that.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Frank. This is a big change for the residents and taxpayers of Branford. We've had an excellent recycling program for 30 years. This is the first major change we've had in decades. So it's a fair question. What are we going to do and why are we going to do it? So our curbside collection of trash and recycling contract is expiring July 1st. So we're entering a new contract. And this change will convert our collection method to an automated vehicle collection of trash and recyclable materials. And as Tyler mentioned, we are going to modify our recycling practices to go to something that we in Branford are going to call no sort recycling. Some people tend to call it single stream. We found some uncertainty about what single stream means, but the focus of no sort is specific to recyclable materials. We're not going to a single stream that includes your trash.
Right.
So there will still be distinction between trash and recycling.
That's why you get two collection containers, correct? That's where you're going to get two collection containers, right, Paul?
That's correct. There will still be a container for your trash and one for your recycling. Why are we making this change at the time of this new contract? 2 years ago, we began a process of studying the trash and recycling market due to significant increases in costs that our residents were seeing for that service that the town provides. We are going to an automated process that is much more widespread use in the state of Connecticut. We're one of the last towns that still has manual collection with trash men that walk with the truck and tip trash barrels into trucks. A lot of other towns, most other towns, have an automated system. We have found through that study that replacement parts, trucks, truck availability, manpower for that manual system is at a deficiency. And so to go to an automated system as we moved into a new contract term gave us the opportunity to have a bigger bidder pool and potentially achieve greater reliability and quality on the service that we were paying for, collection of trash and recycling. The no sort aspect of our recyclable handling was also evaluated during that study, and we found that the material segregation, the recyclable material segregation that all our residents have done for decades was not producing any reduced cost for processing of those recyclables. In fact, it was working the other direction. It was ending up costing us more to have those distinguished categories of recyclable materials because inevitably the purity of that material was usually affected by entrained trash and other materials. So to go to a no-sort system gives us an opportunity to, again, be consistent with the recyclable material processing market and the industrial operations that recyclable material processors follow. So how are we going to make this change? What is that going to mean for our residents? What's going to happen? The town is going to purchase recycling and trash carts for every eligible residence. We see at this point about 8,600 eligible residences, excluding condominiums and multifamily dwellings greater than 4 units, which have always been excluded from town collection of trash and recycling.
Yeah, they do their own, right, Paul, right? They have their own. Their own companies pick up the trash at the condominiums and the, right? As you said, the multifamily over four units, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct, Frank. So we will be providing wheeled carts, which Frank has shown you, for trash and recycling for each eligible residence. The default size is 95 gallons, which is the industry standard. New Haven, East Haven, Hamden all use that size. But Branford residents will have an opportunity to select a slightly smaller cart for recyclable material and for trash. And we are going to be calling these carts instead of bins, which we typically had for our recyclable materials. Each residence will get 1 cart for each waste stream. Additional capacity, if you need more than 95 gallons or 65 gallons of either material stream, additional capacity and additional cart will be available for purchase by each resident or residence, but the town will provide 1 of each to each residence. The transfer station will still be available for trash and recycling if you choose not to acquire a second cart if you need more capacity. One important thing is that non-town, so these carts will be owned by the town and distributed to the residents. Non-town owned carts that a lot of people already have that look like these will not be consistent with the automated collection vehicles. Yes, there'll be a driver, but the actual collection of the material is by an automated mechanical system, and it works with these carts. You won't be able to use your existing wheeled carts.
When does this start, sir?
So there will be a process for that, Frank. Cart selection will start in early May, in a few weeks. And residents will have that opportunity to select the smaller cart by mid-May. The opportunity for selection will be offered to each resident through a postcard that will be mailed to each eligible residence. It will have a specific address code, which you can use that address code on either a computer website based destination for your selection, or there will be a QR code that you can access with your phone and use that code so you can make your selection relatively easily. When we were thinking about how to do this, there's going to be about a 2-week period during which residents can make their selection. And if you don't select, you will get the larger container.
So you'll get 2 larger
You'll get,
containers.
yes, that's right. And, you know, we went through the thought process that if you were going to go to, I'll say Home Depot, to buy a trash container, you would probably spend less than 2 weeks thinking about what size you wanted. So you're going to have 2 weeks to make your selection.
Okay, so as you just said, all the information about selecting, it's only if you want the smaller one. And it's all going to be on the postcard that eligible residents will be getting pretty soon, right, Paul?
Right, I can answer that one as well. So you'll be getting that postcard in the beginning of May. Sometime the goal right now is the first week of May. And if you did not choose a smaller size, you will get the bigger size. So if the residents want the 95 for both recycling and trash, you don't have to do anything. That is what you will get automatically.
Now, will the colors be the same? I mean, when the trash, collectors come around, how can they tell which is recycling and which is garbage or trash?
Right. So we have these examples here at Town Hall. They are both blue. These examples are only to show the size. The residents that will be delivered carts, one will be, I believe it's a darker gray, and this one will be for trash. And then the blue will still be our recycling. So currently we have the blue bins. They will now be blue carts. And it will be very distinct. On the tops of these carts, the recycling will say for recyclable materials only. And on the top of the trash will say for trash only.
Now, if the residents want to take a look at these, in person to see which one they want or which one might be easier to handle for them, they can see them right here, right outside the Branford Town Hall on the green, or there's 2 other locations, right, Tyler?
Right. They're also at the community house and the transfer station. So you can see these at any of the 3 locations. They're here if you wanted to wheel them around and try them. I've had a few calls of the different sizes from residents, and we would like to offer the time now for people to come out and check them out.
Now, Paul, the contract which the Board of Selectmen just approved, right? There's a few contracts, a few steps, right, to this changeover. And these carts are supposed to be delivered to the residents, right, by one of the companies. I mean, what's the date on that, sir?
Okay. Another important question, Frank. So, continuing with the scheduled activities, the residents will have an opportunity to select a smaller cart if they choose to not take the default 95-gallon size. Cart selection will be ended in mid-May, and based on the selections of residents, cart delivery will start in early June, and we anticipate that the cart delivery will take about 3 weeks. The new contract will start July 3rd. And the carts, based on the selections or absence of selection, will actually be delivered by the manufacturer to each eligible residence.
Okay, but you can't start to use them until July 3rd, right?
Good point. We won't be able to use this method until July 3rd, the holiday week.
Okay.
I'll also mention that if you choose not, if you would like to make a selection for a smaller cart and you don't want to use your computer and you don't want to use your phone, you could come down to Town Hall the second week of May and see Tyler Brown in Town Hall between 3 and 4 p.m. each day, and he will enter the information manually for those residents who choose not to do it electronically.
That's a nice convenience. Yeah.
Now, two other things that I should mention to you is what are we going to recycle? Again, we studied this over the past couple of years, and the thing we've learned is that there are a lot of materials that have a recycling symbol on them, but not everything that can be recycled is effectively recycled. So we are going to provide to the residents over the next couple of weeks, again, a postcard or a flyer which will express the recyclable materials that we anticipate to go into the no sort cart. It will essentially be the same, basically the same materials, but we're going to be more clear about the things that aren't recyclable. The classic examples are garden hoses, extension cords, things that tangle, dinner plates, plate glass, mirrors, things that you think would be recyclable, but they're not. There's a term in the industry, it's called wish cycling. I wish it would be recycled, but it isn't.
So it's the standard, that the town has always done, Paul, right? Like you have the glass for bottles and newspapers, of course, and things like printed magazines and but things like tires and all that is not. The other thing too is if the residents have any so-called hazardous waste, right? There's a collection process for that. Would you explain that, sir? Oops, sorry. Sorry.
You okay?
The ground is.
We almost lost Frank.
Almost lost the host.
So yes, there will still be a prohibition on attempting to recycle or dispose hazardous waste or hazardous materials. At the transfer station, we do have locations to accept fluorescent light bulbs. We can accept at the transfer station car batteries. We can accept motor oil, but we are also, as a town, participants in the household hazardous waste recycling collective that takes place at the Regional Water Authority on a routine basis in the spring and summer. In New Haven. One other thing that I would mention, and it's a fair question that we're starting to have people ask us, is what will be the fate of the existing recycling bins and their existing trash barrels? We are working on...
It's 3 o'clock on Friday.
There's
only 3 rings.
We're working on options to dispose or recycle the existing Branford recycling bins. You'll be able to keep your recycling bin and use it for whatever purpose, alternative purpose you choose to. You can make it into a planter. But we're going to work on putting together a collection or drop-off program for the recycling bins. And similarly, for the existing trash containers, we're working on we're trying to put together a program to you can keep them, or to collect or drop off any plastic current trash barrels that residents feel they may no longer need. Okay. I think we covered a lot of the aspects of this upcoming program. I suspect you might have some questions, and we can try and answer.
Yeah. So just to go over it again, there's a change coming to trash collection in Branford. First of all, you're going to get a postcard in the mail. All the eligible households are going to get information in the mail telling them about the program. The program is going to take your existing trash receptacle and your existing recycling bin and as of July 3rd, they're not going to be used anymore. Instead, the town of Branford is buying for the residents in the eligible households new carts, and you're going to get two, one for recyclables and one for trash. And you have the option, but you have to exercise it by the middle of May to get a smaller container. The larger container is 95 gallons, and the smaller one over there is 65 gallons. So if you don't make a choice, then you're going to get two, right, of the larger, the 95 gallon containers. So as of July 3rd, right, do not use the existing trash or recyclable containers. You want to use the new ones, which are automated. They're for automated pickup. Paul, would you tell us just briefly about the change? Because, right, on the RTM, and Paul used to be on the RTM, right, in the old days, right, glass was, I mean, they used to pay us what? There were some years we got, I remember, $200,000 or $300,000 for recyclables, but that the market has all changed now, right, Paul?
Yes, that. Thank you, Frank. That was one of the aspects that drove us into studying this topic 2 years ago. What had been a revenue stream converted into a complete cost stream to the town. Our budgets for this work were being busted. The no sort approach and the automated collection are anticipated to work together such that we can control the collection costs better and we can control the recycling costs better. The way that we are establishing the recyclable material processing contract, we do have an opportunity for some rebate on cost for processing based on the value primarily of cardboard and paper. It is also worth pointing out that there will be more educational materials that will be sent to residents about what to recycle, how to use your carts.
And on the website.
It'll be on the website. It'll be sent by the mail. And that is being, the town is being assisted through a grant from an entity called the Recycling Partnership, which is providing the town over $100,000 for resident education on recycling practices.
What's the website, Paul? Do you know it offhand?
Our town website?
Well, the one that has the information about recycling.
That will be on the town website on the sustainability tab.
It'll actually, we currently have it on the recycling and trash tab. We're going to place it in as many spots on the website as possible. Currently, you'll want to go to the recycling section for anything that's up there right now.
Thank you. And the last point I'll make is that purchasing the carts for all of the town residents is an expensive task. The first selectman and the finance director have put together a program for use of federal American Rescue Plan Act fund designation to purchase the carts, which is an approved use of, we call them ARPA funds, which is going to be a proper use of federal money and will not require town taxpayer funding through property taxes for acquisition of the carts.
That's absolutely correct, Paul. Just wanted to point out the Board of Selectmen approved the contract to what Rehig Pacific Company, and as Paul mentioned, the cost is it's $1,019,000 for the purchase of those carts, but it was all covered by a grant, as Paul said, not tax dollars.
Right. I just want to mention it's Ray Rig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ray Rig Pacific Company. They're going to be the company. Yeah. There will be the company that's distributing these carts directly to eligible residences.
Okay. Question for you, Tyler. So, I mean, we were talking before we put the camera on that, possibly some groups like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts in Branford, they might want to volunteer to stand outside Karen's Corner maybe, or Big Y, or Stop and Shop, and pass out the literature. Is that right?
Right. So we're trying to get as many residents as possible to be able to see these new carts before they show up, and we'll have a time period to choose. So the thought was we are going to try and work with a volunteer organization and maybe the local grocery store to have these carts outside there, maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday for a full day-long event. And we'll be speaking about the carts and allowing residents to see the carts. And we would hopefully have some literature to pass out to those that would like it as well.
Okay, so if any group, that's watching this program, gee, this would be great to help the town, spread the word about the new program that's coming up for trash. I mean, what's your website that they can reach you at to volunteer?
Sure. So the easiest way would be to email our sustainability email, which is sustainability@branford-ct.gov, and that will come directly to my department. I will be able to see those emails and get back to any possible volunteer organization. And if any watcher also would like specific questions, you could also email me there as well.
That's your address too?
Right. So that will come directly to my department, which it comes directly to me.
Okay. Paul, so now, I just wanted to mention, Paul, he's a volunteer and he's chaired this, the waste committee for how many years, Paul, have you chaired it?
I've probably been the chairman for, I'm going to say 6 years.
And now, just off the top of your head, this whole change, which has, been basically organized by you as a volunteer, I mean, how many hours have you put in on this in the last 2 years? Just on the top of your head, how many hundreds?
Do you have a calculator?
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm going to say there was probably 1,000 hours worth of time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You've done a wonderful job, Paul, and it's appreciated. And thank you too, Tyler. It's been great to be here with you all today. So this is a big change coming up, and you'll get the postcard in the mail, which will explain everything, right?
Well, thanks for helping us get the message out.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
you're
is
welcome.
great. Yeah.
It's a pleasure. So I've been speaking with Tyler Munoz, who is the chairman of the Branford Solid Waste Commission for the last 6 years, and also I've been speaking with Tyler Bone. Bound. I'm sorry, Bowne.
Correct.
Tyler Bound, who's the town's he's the manager of the sustainability and compliance. Very important. And thank you for being with us. And I'm Frank Toohill for Henry Pond. Until next time, goodbye.